And,
And
oh, sorry. How many do you have in storage if you combine 6,000, 2,000, 3,000?
I'll have Ian give you the exact numbers just so you have those.
and JC, do you have a question?
Hi there. Yes, good morning. Thanks, Paul, for hosting this again. Wanted to ask you, kind of in light of what we saw this week and the sort of evolving way that Metro handled the lack of trains on the tracks, were there any efficiencies that you learned this week that will help hopefully make next week a bit easier?
I know we have actually. I mean, just from an operational standpoint, just a little bit of inside baseball. I mean, when you have this fleet, it's all intermingled, literally in yards. I know that a number of you have seen some of our yards. So we're literally just jockeying cars around and getting them in position, getting them to the right yards so that you have them at the different locations at the endpoints. That took some time so we'll get more efficient with that. Obviously, we already have. But when you made this major shift of how you're operating, there were definitely some hiccups along the way that we will correct and get more efficient at it. So that's one example of it.
Will that, do you think, help smooth out the wait times and the frustrations next week?
Okay, exactly.
And Jordan Pascale, you're next.
Yeah, Paul, Metro told the NTSB that these issues were progressively getting worse over the recent years. And from what I can understand, the board didn't know about this. WMSC didn't know about this. Why was that the case?
Yeah, I think that's still an investigation, but I do know what we were doing. What we were doing is inspecting the cars every 90 days, basically as industry standard. We had done thousands upon thousands upon thousands of inspections, and a handful of them did not meet that requirement on a year basis. So from a warranty perspective is how a lot of that was being viewed. You had something that wasn't working to what was expected in the warranty. We went to Kawasaki, we get a new wheel, we put it on. So again, in the scale of this, that's the way that was evolving. In 21, that spiked some. Still thousands upon thousands of inspections, but that number went up. That is definitely where that should have been raised much sooner. So we'll get to the bottom of all of that, but that is not my focus right now. There's lots of times to get to all that history and all that, and that will come out in the different views that are underway. The most important thing for me right now is how do I get the service back up in a safe manner for this region? That's what I am focusing on. That is my greatest focus. All that other stuff will play out, and we'll get to the bottom of that, and we'll deal with those issues. But that does not help that person that's standing on the platform. So that's what I'm trying to do right now.
And a quick follow-up for Paul Smedberg. Paul, this board is completely different from when Wiedefeld's contract was approved 3 years ago. Do you still have faith in Metro's leadership and, from the top to, folks that maybe should have put, this information up the rungs a little bit more?
Absolutely. I mean, we have confidence in Mr. Wiedefeld as general manager, Teresa Posado as the chief safety officer. And as I was going to say in my prepared remarks here, written for this, that, we're behind the entire team looking to get service back safely. And that, we want to assure the customers and our riders and our stakeholders that we are going to get there, but we're going to do it safely. And we absolutely have confidence in Paul and his team working on this.
Thanks.
Okay, Megan Rivers. Yeah.
Hey, again, thanks for having this. Megan Rivers with Channel 9 here. I just want to talk a little bit about ridership numbers and if you guys have been keeping up with that since all of this has happened. Are you seeing a drastic decrease? More people are starting to go back into the office. So more people who rely on that mode of transportation were using the Metro. But have you seen what kind of the numbers have been like since all of this has happened?
Yeah, Megan, it has dropped some. The numbers are roughly 186,000 riders on average a day over the last week, and he can get you some numbers from the previous week, so you can make that comparison.
And one quick follow up to that too. I just want to go over the timeline again. You said October 31st is going to be the limited service, at least till October 31st. No timetable on when you'll get back. And what are the alternate routes you were saying that folks have access to?
That is where we're working with some of our bus routes, where basically if they mirror closer to a line, we're tweaking them some, and we're working with local governments as well with their bus systems to see if there's things that we can do to give people better options on the bus side. So that is still playing out. We will get out specific information on that. We've been meeting with them, so that will take some time as well, but we want to create as much of redundancy there as we can. But again, I think it was mentioned earlier, though, that service is already out there, is almost to its max. So there's going to be very little room there.
Okay, thank you.
Ian Duncan.
Hi, thanks for doing this. I just was wondering, Mr. Wiedefeld, in your message to your employees this week, you said that there was some frustration that you were hearing about some of the reporting on the issues. Is there anything that you're in a position to clarify today, like specifics on what it is that you've been hearing from your staff that they're concerned about?
No, I put that note out because, we have an extremely proud workforce. They work very hard. And you think of what they've been through over the last 18 months. These are the people that have been moving this region during this COVID and during this pandemic. And they've been under tremendous stress. And a lot of information is flying out there with the way the process works. That does not get, there's not immediate reaction to some of that because the NTSB basically says, no, we're going to find the facts and we will put out the facts. So we're not going to comment on that, but there's just a general frustration. I have almost 13,000 employees that work very hard every day to make things safe, to meet the needs of the region. And there was some of that. They're saying, gosh, we're working very hard and we're, just to make sure people, and I just wanted to share with them that I appreciate it. And we'll run this down to ground like we do with everything else and get to the bottom of it. And we will go from there. But they work extremely hard. And I just wanted to reinforce that, and that I'm proud to be with them.
And just one more, if I could. Are these cars still under warranty? You said that some of these issues were being addressed with warranties before. Is that still an option?
Yeah, it depends on the car. It depends on some of the systems in the car. So they all have maybe some different warranties. So it would be specific. But in the case of the wheels, they were under warranty and they were being replaced. Of any ones that we found that were out of tolerance, they were being replaced.
Thanks.
All right, we have a few more minutes. Rick Massimo, if you're on. No, we can come back to him. Going back in order, I see Tom first. Do you have a quick follow-up, Tom?
I had a question for Paul Smedberg. I just wanted to ask about the outside safety consultants. It seems like you're kind of saying we don't believe we can get the full picture from just Metro anymore, but I want you to put that in your own words, if you would, why you felt it was important to hire outside safety consultants for the board.
Yeah, Tom, we currently don't have anyone on the board that is a safety expert per se, or people that are familiar with how that operation works. We have had people like that on the board in the past. So we wanted to make sure that we have advisors as we work through this with the general manager and Ms. Emposado, that we have people on board that can help us analyze the information, make sure we have the right information, make sure we're asking the right questions, and possibly, as this comes to a conclusion, that, maybe there are things that we, the board, and we together with the general manager can do better, into the future. Because as you know, one of our primary goals is safety oversight, or responsibilities is safety oversight. So, we got to make sure we get this right. So we wanted to have that, independent third party just guide us through this process.
Do you feel the board should have been informed about this issue with the wheels?
We had no knowledge of this at this point. what we're seeing. There was, this slight uptick this coming year. I think we're going to reserve judgment on that right now, but to see, with all the facts, as they come out. But, I do know that, the board in general does have some concerns that if we, did see this uptick that, we weren't informed. But, again, we'll move on together with the general manager and make sure that, in the future that, things like this don't happen again.
Okay, we got time for just one more question. I see, so I was trying to go in order. Adam, do you have one final question?
Yeah, Paul, is it possible, and I'm not talking about the derailment, but is it possible that the 7,000s for years potentially could have been derailing and then re-railing themselves? Please talk about that, and then talk about, where you believe the state of safety and the safety culture is with Metro.
I think every year, every 90 days, we were inspecting these wheels, and we're not finding issues in literally very, very small sample that we did find them. The vast majority did not have them. So that's the standard that industry follows. Obviously, something else is going on here that we're all trying to track down. We'll get to that. In terms of the overall safety culture, I don't believe this at this point is a safety cultural issue. That it was more a mechanical issue that mechanics are looking at, and the way that they view things in terms of a warranty and in terms of dealing with their manufacturer. So I feel very strongly. I know that we've worked very closely with our union, all of our unions, but over the last few years to build that culture, we've seen it play out. We've seen it play out during the pandemic. Where people have stepped up and taken the next step on safety and culture, or on safety. So I feel very strong that we continue in that direction. It's not a point where you say, okay, we're there and we're done, but it's something that we've continued to improve and will continue to improve.
Great, everyone. At this time, I want to just see if Mr. Wiedefeld or Mr. Smedberg has any final comments.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, if I could, I just had a brief statement. So I just want to reiterate and state that, I do have confidence in the general manager and the chief safety officer to work through this in a good way and work cooperatively, not only with the people investigating this incident, but also, working with the employees and the board, to move forward in a good, constructive way to get at the heart of this. And I also want to ensure our riders and our stakeholders that we're going to work through this. We're going to get there, hopefully bring back service as quickly as possible, but doing so safely. And I think the board is certainly committed to that. I know Mr. Wiedefeld and his team is committed to that. So that is one thing I want to make clear with folks. We are going to get there, and we are going to do it safely. Thank you.
Great, everyone. For everyone that was listening earlier, I just wanted to have give you an updated number for the average ridership this week. It's about 157,000. And you can feel free to reach out to me if you need a more specific breakdown. Thank you everyone very much. For the TV folks, if you weren't recording, I will shoot you a link to download the video shortly. And as always, just email me with any follow-up questions you have. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.